Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's MSP or this week's coaching session. Really excited to be with you all today as we head into the close of 2025. And I'm going to give a few moments for everybody to jump in and join us today. And now I've moved over my microphone. Hopefully, you can hear me a little bit better. But today we're really going to start getting into how to close out 2025 strong and really get ready for 2026. So I'm going to give folks just another 30 seconds or so to kick off. For those of you that are new to our coaching sessions, we do this nearly every Tuesday. Travel and a couple of holidays permitting, but it's basically where we break down different topics within vCIOToolbox, different tools within vCIOToolbox, or really go into the theory of being a better trusted advisor to our customers and steps we can take to do that. So really excited. This will be our last coaching session for 2025. So we'll take the next couple of weeks off, as I'm sure many of you will be enjoying the holidays and hopefully spending a little time with your families as well. Just know that we will regroup again in, I think that would be January 6th of 2026. I can't believe we're saying that. But with that said, let's kick off what we're here to talk about today. And one of the things I really wanted to talk about today is we're heading into that downtime season. While many people be taking vacation, many people are still in the office. And I've found that there's steps that vCIOs can do to really better prepare themselves to hit the ground running in the new year and ensure that they're taking some steps to even build deeper relationships with their customer in the coming year. So today I really want to go through five things that we can do to get ready for 2026. But as we talk about getting ready for 2026, I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing to get ready for 2026 as well. Our automation project is almost live. I know I've been talking about this for a little while, and testing is going well, and this will be launched by the time we resume coaching in the new year. But really what I want you to think about is imagine doing a baseline QBR that takes minutes instead of hours. And one of the things that we've been doing is really increasing our integration so we can build this. We're going to call it Virtual TAM today. I'm sure it'll get a more marketing spin name before all said and done. But really, what we're doing is trying to take some of that analyst work, the things that we need to put to our engineers, the things that become blockers on our progress, and really automate that capability. So you'll see that as when we launch this, our Virtual TAM has the potential to answer 60 different controls for you. So imagine doing kind of a level one assessment, totally automated. It's going to auto create solutions for you. So give you a set of suggestions that can be converted very easily into recommendations and tickets with a single click. It's going to help you create your scorecard and roadmap. And for your smaller customers, this can be an automated report that you're putting out every month to them. Really, for any customer, you could do that with some of the data. But think about a smaller customer where you can give an updated scorecard every month with very little touch being involved and really kind of helping them stay engaged over time. And then finally, when you come to these assessments, you can go fully automated. Again, the level one suggestions we'll be making there will allow you to do a fully automated assessment, but you can layer on additional questions for more in-depth assessments. So for those larger customers where you still want to analyze people and process, you want to peel the onion back, that's where we'll go back to our traditional maturity levels, and we'll go from level one to level two, and that'll bring in back some of the manual assessment. But there's going to even be some new design into how that works, hopefully helping you guys move a little bit quicker through it. And really what we're doing is kind of generating this virtual TAM that's ingesting data from all the different integrations that we've put together this year and will continue to put together. We've built an LLM that's able to interpret that data, make suggestions, and then create those assessments and scorecards. And all that can be generated out to your meeting view, out to your report with very little, effort. Where I will say there will still be some effort is I still coach very heavily. You want to build a strategic plan whenever possible with your customers. That North Star is going to help you close deals by tying those projects to the initiatives they're going after. And that hasn't been lost in this process. But that's part of the art of vCIO, in my opinion. So if you think about it, you might have the ability to automate the assessment part, really move through that process quickly, and then work with your customer in more high-level touch and more more sticky type of relationship steps, like building that joint strategic plan and helping them understand how you can be that leader to support them in these changing times. There's never been a better time to be an advisor. I say it all the time with the advent of AI capabilities that we're integrating in, where those fit, what's the security we need to put around it, coupled up with, security considerations, both, from an AI perspective, of course, but just overall in your organization and staying ahead of cyber threats. We've really become almost management consultants as much as we remain IT consultants with our customers. And there's never been a better time to grow that relationship than now. And what we're trying to do at vCIOToolbox is start reducing the things that are obstacles to building that, the things that take time, the things that are tactical that no longer need to be done manually. And we can do so by ingesting this. So we're really excited about this. Like I said, by the time we resume coaching in the new year, this will be live. And Janessa and others will be meeting out with you throughout the year to help those of you that are existing customers tie these automations to any customizations you did in your templates as well, because there is a little bit of a rules engine that helps support this as well. But we're really excited about it. And as we go into 2026, we will be continuing to expand out the integration classes, besides adding more security and awareness tools and vulnerability scanners in the new year. One of the other things we'll be doing is moving over to the EDR, MDR realm, the cloud backup realm, and bringing in some of those other data sources that we've heard requested as integrations into the system, bringing them and enabling them. Next year is going to be really the year of expanding automation and getting better engagement with our customers. That's really going to be our messaging, and we're excited about it, and we're excited to have you along with us on the journey. But now let's step into today's information. So I'm going to go through 5 steps of things that MSPs can do and vCIOs in particular can do to get ready for the new year. The first one is it's time to give yourself a gift, right? We're here at the holiday times and we're buying gifts for everybody else. How about something for you? And I always, one of the things that I always loved about being in IT services, and certainly when I was an MSP, is our relationships with our clients are really the gift that keeps on giving. I started my career in telecommunications, and when I was in that role, one of the biggest challenges I had is I'm old enough that 5-year contracts were the norm back then. Obviously, there's been a lot of change in that. But really, the bigger challenge was when we sold a telecom contract to our customers, oftentimes we had nothing else to sell them. How do you stay engaged and remind them 5 years down the road that you were the wonderful sales rep that saved them a ton of money last time? And, that was one of the challenges because it put us forever in the hunter only seat. So when I had the opportunity to move into IT services, one of the first things that I understood was, hey, man, I get to talk to my customer on the regular, and new things are happening in technology all the time. There's a steady stream of revenue that I can gain from every one of them throughout the year if I just stay engaged with them. So, obviously, that's why one of the principles that had us build vCIOToolbox. And the way you can, prepare yourself and give yourself a gift for 2026 is really through conducting a white space analysis for all your clients. For those of you that are not familiar with a white space analysis, it's really a report where you can go in and build out your tech stack and then match your customers' adherence to those tech stack elements. Those could be hardware elements. They could be your managed services that you provide and what levels they're at, gold, silver, and bronze as an example. Or, hey, they've got my core stack, but they don't have my security stack. And really kind of see where there are gaps and where customers are not compliant with meeting your tech stack. And when we do that, it's really easy in our system to attach to the projects that were built during the QBR effort. If so, we can attach to them and show that revenue as part of the white space analysis. Or we can go out and create new projects, which is even better. If we uncover new projects, that's new opportunity we're putting into the funnel. But really, this also usually represents the low-hanging fruit, the upsell opportunities we have with our customers. And when I say give yourself a gift, it's really looking at them and going, hey, man, can we go get some of this cash right now, or can we go get it next year? And the reason I say it that way is many of my customers were not-for-profits, or they were customers that that had to spend their money or they wouldn't get it in the budget next year. And if you're not having those conversations with your customers earlier in the year, you might miss these opportunities. I consistently had people that needed to spend, and I'll admit, obviously hardware's not worth what it once was to us, but it was always my biggest hardware month in December because all those deals that were kind of stuck now had that I better spend or I'm going to lose kind of mentality. But I had people pre-buying services for the next year, things like that, so they could make sure that those allocated funds were out. And one of the easiest ways to kind of direct them to that conversation is by doing this white space analysis. It's also going to help you figure out where your quick wins are for 2026. You'll be able to see which customers have the largest amount of upsell opportunity. You'll be able to map those out and really get ready for 2026. And right now is the perfect time to do that when you don't have as many phone calls coming in, where there's not as much pressing as people kind of wind down and get ready for the holiday. The other thing is it's going to allow you to kind of guide your marketing teams for the new year as well. So when as you identify, at the customer level, you'll be able to see the upgrades there, but you're also able to see the upgrades across your stack. And if you can identify areas in your stack that can really be uplifted, that can bring some good revenue both to you as as the vCIO for what you're being managing and to your company, well, we can really help kind of coordinate that with the marketing team and see how we can bring that into their marketing message for 2026 as well. Set your plan for sharing it with your clients. You're going to have to let them know about some of these projects. And again, if you've got good insight into whether they have those spend or lose kind of mentalities, this might be the right time to talk about it. So, by conducting the white space analysis at the bare minimum, it's going to give you clarity on where your customers are not meeting your standards. And certainly that's going to open up new conversation tracks for 2026. But in many cases, it's also going to open up the opportunity for some revenue. The second thing is building your business canvas. And I know George Meller's on the call today. Welcome, George. He did a great session last week, and that's been posted up to the university around building the business canvas. But really, it's time, it's the time now where you can dig deeper into those client relationships. For those of you on the call that haven't attended one of our business canvas trainings in the past, it's really just a common business modeling tool that's out in the market space, used often in MBA programs, that really allows you to conduct your get engaged with your customers and really understand the 360 view of how they work. What's their value proposition? How are they going to market? And then ultimately, how are they operating behind the scenes to do so? So again, by sitting down and doing these, business canvas models, one, you're going to really create nice communication pieces so you can share this information internally with your customer or internally with your team. If you've got new people coming on the team in 2026, this is a great tool to help them better understand not just what technologies the customer's using and the things that get passed naturally, but how they work and what the customer's all about. So your team can really become more in tune with the customer's needs. And then really it's going to help you scope out referral opportunities. So if we stay in that concept of giving yourself a gift, I've always said that the partnership and the customer segment columns should lead you to referral opportunities. So if you do these, right now during the slower times, you might uncover the key to where partnerships and segments can lead you to referrals. Most companies, local deals with local in a lot of our communities. Those partnerships they have are going to be local vendors, local suppliers. And if we're trying to get to those people and turn them into customers, now we can reach out to our customers in this lovely giving holiday season and ask, hey, I'll use George. Hey, George, I see you're working with XYZ company. I've been trying to reach a gentleman over there named Jim Smith. Any chance you have a relationship? Would you mind making an introduction? And really start building those referral sources. Because if referral growth is not part of your vCIO agenda for 2026, you're not doing the job to the fullest. This is a huge, if doing our vCIO job right really should lead to us being able to grow our stable clients through a steady stream of referrals from the customers that we're serving well. The other thing I always suggest at this time of year is really do a self-reflection and a 360 view and be very honest with yourself. Did I accomplish my goals for this year? I'm going to say this because I'm not your manager. It's okay if you didn't, but kind of understand, where did you fall short? Was it you didn't get the volume of meetings with your customers that you were expecting throughout the year? Did you not get the feedback from the customers when you expected it? And maybe you got to work on your communications to them a little bit more. Do you still have outstanding opportunities that they're kicking the can down the road on and you can't harness them in? Think about, this is a great time to think about, how am I going to get those things reined in very very early in 2026. So really reflect back and look at the goals that you may not have met throughout the year. But don't lose sight of celebrating the wins. It's important to also look back at the year and go, what did we accomplish? What projects did we bring in through this process that wouldn't have otherwise been identified if we were not meeting with our customer, doing our gap analysis and looking at risk? What momentum did we make with our customers? Did we have relationships that were going sour that we were able to turn this year? That me as the vCIO, I was able to step in, advocate for them, and make it a better relationship. Don't lose sight of celebrating the wins with yourself as well. Also be honest where you can get better. Each one of us, has a gap in our game. I don't care how long you've been doing it. Even the best ball players know where their weaknesses are, and they work towards it each year to try to close the gap on those weaknesses. So look at what you could have done better in the year and see where you can work it and do that. I know I'm looking at 2026 planning right now for my organization, and there are definitely some areas that, that I see that we can get better at. Communication to get product out a little bit faster, or, continuing to increase the sales funnel, or some things that we can be better at than we are today. And that's something that you can use this downtime to really reflect and get ready, and then chart your steps and say, how am I going to be better at this next year? And that's really the final one, is create that action plan. It's all well and good to identify what you're doing, but you got to get that action plan, and then you got to commit to it. We are at the New Year's time frame, right? We're all going to go back to the gym and we're all going to lose 50 pounds, and we know that's kind of the thought each year. But the reality is, if you create an incremental action plan where you say, I'm going to take this one step in Q1, this one step in Q2, and I'm going to work with these 3 customers to get better, and really isolate in where you can get the most value, then you're going to commit to it. You should be able to adhere to that action plan and really get it going as you go into the new year. And that really brings us to the 4th step. Let's rank the stack. You've got a bunch of accounts. You know who the good ones are. You know who the noisy ones are. What you don't know is who are the ones in the middle that are ready to be risen up. When I'm looking at that self-reflection and I say to myself, I want to improve my status with X, Y, and Z customer. Who are X, Y, and Z customer? They hopefully are new customers that you really haven't been paying the same level of attention to, because they've shown indicators that they're ready to go from good to great. So, we have our account rating tool within the system. For those that are not familiar with it, it follows very much the Mike Michalowicz pumpkin principle, if you're familiar with that. We have 9 core criteria that you can measure against. They're adjustable. You can build up to 12. And then you really just want to go, hey, are they excellent, optimal? Are they neutral? Or are they kind of suffering? Are they in the red zone? And we just go in and do a quick stank ranking. But by doing that, we're going to identify 2 to 3 elevation targets. I guarantee you this. People that, when you look at it, are customers in the middle of your stack that you've really never, gotten too deep with, but they are the kind of people that embrace IT, have good growth potential, are good partners with you. And with a little bit of effort, you can raise them up to be a better customer for you, improve their technology and the way they do things, maybe introduce more automation, more AI as an example, but more importantly, bring back some better relationship rewards to your team. Maybe it's easier time on your help desk. Maybe it's more revenue, right? But there are a variety of things we can bring in there. Downgrade those you determine to be less than partners. This is also a good time of year for those of you that have reached that maturity level to think about, how do I clean house with those customers that no longer fit our profile? The reality is, when we hit a certain peak, we really run into a situation where we have 2 decisions in life, right? It's hire another person to accommodate the customers that we have and the ones that we're taking on, or look if we want to remove some of the customers that are less profitable before we make that hire and improve the bottom line. And by ranking that stack, you might find that customers that you thought were great once upon a time now don't fit your mold as you continue to evolve and become more operationally mature. Maybe they're not good partners. They're not adhering to your tech standards. And they're the kind of people that are bringing a little bit of support noise to your team, maybe those are the ones that they were really great when you got started and you were able to give them the attention they needed, but now they need a different type of vendor. So this is a great time for you to really rank that stack and look at it and then set your 2026 action plan on, are we going to stay the course with the clients we have? If we are, what changes do we want to make within those clients? Where do we want to see them improve on their grading here? Who are those elevation targets? And then who are those people that we might want to, let if they go away, if they leave us, it's okay. Finally, prepare a holiday letter to your clients as well. This can be a very standard letter that you put together for clients, but it can follow this type of format. Thank them for being a great partner, and letting them know that you care a lot about, their relationship and you're really happy to be the advocate that's talking on their behalf as a vCIO. Highlight their wins for the year. If you made implementations that made them stronger and you've gotten feedback on those outcomes, refer to them here. Remind them about it because customers move on from those projects, right? And it's a great time during the holiday season to go, hey, look, together we did this. We implemented the new backup system, which gives us immutable backups, and we will not have to worry about ransomware down the road. Or hey, we really tightened up our policies, and now we know if we have a cyber event, we should be okay from a claims perspective. Whatever those wins are, kind of highlight them within your letter. Also set the expectations for next year. Hey, I'm really excited. I can't wait till our Q1 QBR. Here's some things that we're thinking about as we go into the next year. And if you know that there's a couple of key projects on the table, even refer to them without getting into a sales conversation. And, I'm really excited that as we go into next year and look to strengthen security, how we're going to improve our identity management or our compliance management, whatever the case may be. But make sure you're setting those expectations for next year. And then wish them an incredible holiday season. You will be surprised that just a simple note that goes out to your customers as the vCIO that really isn't asking for anything, but just kind of highlighting the year, setting groundwork for next year, but really just telling them, I appreciate you, how that will go. We all send out the Christmas cards, those kind of things, and that's wonderful. But these kind of things are a little bit more personalized. And let's face it, a big part of what we're doing as vCIOs is personal. We bridge that gap between our company and theirs. We speak on behalf of our customers when they need support, and we speak on behalf of our company when we need to educate them. And it's I use the word intimate in the sense that you really become very close with your customer if you do this right. And those bonds, will serve you no matter what you do. So that's it in terms of this year. We'll open up the floor for some Q&A. I see a couple coming in, but I wanted to thank all of you as well. We had an incredible year this year in terms of coaching. Certainly had a great year at vCIOToolbox in terms of expansion as well. But one of the things that I want to highlight is I really want to thank you. These coaching sessions are something I enjoy doing. And this year we had 156 different unique attendees join us. I see a core group of you, and I want to thank those folks that come in almost every week. You guys are wonderful because it's always great for me to have an audience here every week when we do it. And hopefully I bring some value to your day because I know it's tough to find that time. So, there's a bunch of you guys. I see Mark here, George here. I see, quite a few others that come every week, and I thank you for that. But we also see a lot of people that come based on the topic that week. And it was great getting 156 people to come in at different times throughout the year to get those meetings. And many of them, the majority of them were repeat attenders a number of times, but, really awesome to get that many people interested in getting a little bit of coaching and training. It tells us that, we're doing the right things on our side. And we did 40 coaching sessions this year. This was actually one of our best years in terms of volume. As I mentioned to you guys, we'll never do 52. There's always travel weeks. There's always vacation times. I mentioned earlier, we're taking the next 2 Tuesdays off for the holidays. But we were able to get very consistent this year, really bring coaching each week. Janessa, who is on vacation today, has been great filling in as kind of a secondary coach for me on days that I might not be here. So I anticipate that number going up. George Meller, who does some training with us and runs vCIO growth and has really become a close confidant to vCIOToolbox. he's running some coaching sessions when I can't make it as well. So I really expect us to do well next year and bring you some different voices too, some people that have different perspectives than just mine. But I want to thank all of you for being customers this year, all of you for being part of our community, and certainly I'm open to suggestions on where we can improve or meet your needs in 2026 as well. I do have a couple of questions coming in. Does TAM equal vCIO? So TAM is really the technical account manager. This question came in from Sean. So Sean, a lot of times and I saw that you said you're new to the vCIO process. Depending on how your company builds their vCIO program, one of the most common models we see is there's really kind of a two-person approach to delivering the QBR. There's the need for an engineer or a technical resource to do the gap analysis. That's what I'm alluding to when I say the TAM. It's the technical alignment manager. It's a common term that's used in some of the coaching communities today. A lot of customers that have been in the MSP space for a while certainly understand what the TAM is equivalent to. Sometimes it's referred to as the net admin. Sometimes it's just the engineer who's responsible for the assessment. But a lot of times the engineers come in to do that assessment, and then the vCIOs are coming in behind them to understand what the results are, work with them to build those projects and services that ultimately go on the roadmap and really go out and present to the customer. One of the things that we've seen, though, as an organization, meaning vCIOToolbox and working with hundreds of MSPs, when the process gets a little slow, when things start going off the rails, when we see people slowing down some of their adoption, it's usually because their engineering teams are overwhelmed with other things they need to do inside their business. And certainly we can respect that some of the billable things will trump some of the vCIO activities. But now your vCIO team is kind of, I won't say held hostage because that's an awful way to approach it, but kind of held behind because they don't have the resources to fill out the gaps. They might not have the personal knowledge to fill out the gaps. And as a result of that, they're not out there meeting with their clients. So what we've done is built kind of, I'm calling it a virtual TAM today. It will have a much more kitschier marketing name by the time this goes live in the next week or so. But, the reality is it's kind of a virtual engineer. And the way we've constructed that virtual engineer is simply we expanded our integrations. We bring in much more data now from Microsoft and your asset sources and vulnerability sources and security and awareness sources. And we've built an LLM that allows us to now kind of interpret that data, make heads or tails of it. We can now conduct the assessment and really take a lot of the grunt work off of the engineer's back. So now if you do engage them for those higher level assessments, they're coming in and answering 20 questions, 25 questions, instead of being responsible for 100 of them. And this really should accelerate your opportunity to get out there and see clients. It should empower our account managers to run the QBR process end to end for some of those smaller clients that are in your stack. As the virtual technical account manager will do the heavy lifting of identifying where the gaps are. Now you're just working on building out that roadmap and projects, and really allow you to see more clients, which is really what the goal for the program is to stay engaged and really see more clients on a more regular cadence. So, all we're trying to do is leverage all the great tools that are now out there from an AI, LLM, and from an integration and automation standpoint, ingest that data in, and then convert that data into something useful for the MSP that they can bring out to their customers as the vCIO. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit there, Sean, and hopefully gives everybody a little bit more vision into what we're trying to do. So with that said, folks, it looks like I don't have any other questions today. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them into chat or Q&A. But I'll just close out our session as we come near the end of our time. I want to thank everybody again. It's been a great year here at vCIOToolbox. I can't say enough how much we care about our clients, and we care on your opinions. You guys have given us great suggestions, have helped us shape better features, and we're getting to the end of the rainbow on a couple things that have been outstanding for us. This virtual admin piece, some mapping, cross mapping in our GRC is set to go live too. And we're really excited about these things that'll carry us into the new year. And next year, it's really going to just be expanding that automation, trying to make your lives easier, make you go out there and be more successful with your clients in a much simpler fashion. So I want to thank you all for your input through the last year. I want to thank you all for taking time out each Tuesday to join us. I'm really excited for what 2026 is going to bring for all of us. And I'm really hope all of you have a wonderful holiday season and enjoy time away from work, hopefully, as well. So thank you all. We'll see you again in 2026. And Sean, I'll send you a note directly with costs and things like that as well. All right. Thank you, everybody.